ChatbotBuilder.ai. What is it and why do we use it? So for those of you that are unaware, chatbot builders as a whole provide us as developers a few things, but mainly it's speed, right? It's speed and functionality because we don't have to sit and hard code. How do I handle this text back and forth? How do I bring in this image? How do I call these custom functions and connect and integrate with, CRMs and various things? So these chatbot building platforms give us a lot out of the box. And of course, we can use that to our advantage to build out chatbots for our business clients quicker and a lot of times more functional and more polished, right? So today's video, I'm going to go over ChatbotBuilder.ai, which I think is one of the best no-code, low-code builders out on the market right now. And I have found myself spending a lot of time in this platform recently, and I'll go through why I think that's the case, because it is set up a little bit differently than your traditional builders a la a VoiceFlow or a BotPress, right? So if we go ahead and log in here, you're going to have create a new account here. And Chatbot Builder, even if you want to connect to these other things, they recommend that you start with web chat. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to call this YouTube demonstration. Continue. Okay, so when you start a ChatbotBuilder.ai account, you kind of land on this dashboard that has a lot of different things. Like we can start clicking on these things and you're like, oh my God, like what is this? Like flows, settings, there's a lot of things that you can just kind of start clicking and getting lost in really quickly. Like look at all this stuff. And I think one of the challenges for people that are coming into Chatbot Builder right out the gate is we're used to seeing like a designer, like give me a design. I'm making a chatbot, right? I want to drag in my text. Where's my welcome message? I want to drag, but Chatbot Builder is a little bit different because you don't really start building a chatbot from go. Okay. You start with an account, and this account has a brain, and you have to set the rules of that brain. And it connects to a bunch of things. And by the way, if you want a chatbot for a website, you can also have that as well. But it's not from the root, let me build this chatbot and then integrate it into a bunch of things. So it's a little bit to work through. It's a little bit different. But let's go into some of the basics here. So you'll see YouTube demonstration is kind of cut off here. You can change the name of your logo, and this is a drop down menu. I'm not going to click this because I have all my client work on this account, but it would show you all of the bots that you have running through Chatbot Builder. But if we scroll down to the bottom here, I can rename this from YouTube demonstration or change this little robot here just by clicking change account logo and uploading things. And you've got some user IDs and some other information here, yada, yada, yada. What is the first thing that you kind of need to do to start building a chatbot in Chatbot Builder? And let's start with integrations, right? Because we're going to come to OpenAI. And you'll look when you click OpenAI, I automatically have a few things that kind of jump out at me here. But you have an OpenAI key that Chatbot Builder has already integrated and connected with OpenAI. So already out of the box, you don't need to tie into any of your own existing OpenAI stuff unless you want some unique functionality, which I'll probably get into later. If we click edit here, I now have a prompt that's sitting in front of me here. And I'm going to make an assumption that you all kind of know how to prompt, but let's just pull a business kind of out of thin air and make a prompt here, which this is VB Patios. And for those of you that remember one of my business FAQ videos, this is the same exact website that I've built out functionality before. So I can just copy this URL. Let's just get a very basic knowledge base from ChatGPT. Please build me out a business knowledge base. Build this URL. Now this isn't going to be, a super whamadine result that has a bunch of functionality. And obviously if I was building this out for the client, I would do a lot more and add a bunch of different things, but I just want to prove to you how to get something up and running quickly and speak to a chatbot or a knowledge base here. Boom. So I can just copy this. We're going to put this right into here and say, you are an assistant for DB patios. Provide users with answers to questions. All right. The other thing that you'll notice here, I can click more options. This model right now is locked into 3.5 Turbo. Now remember what I said earlier about Chatbot Builder providing an OpenAI key. If you'd like to upgrade to a higher model, you can disconnect this tie, add your own key, and have everything. So up to 4.0. And I actually have this on one of my bots currently online, and that's just because there's certain functionality that I think 4.0 handles a little bit better. But of course, I'm going to have to pay for all of the usage there on my end, which of course gets passed down to the client. But anyways, you've got 3.5 turbo, your normal, temperature setting, maximum output tokens. All of this is pretty normal. What is this function? Okay, so it's connect user to human. If I click continue here, because that's going to save here. If I go to functions and click manage, this is a function that is baked into Chatbot Builder, which is basically connect user to human. And one of the reasons that this is available to you out of the box is the inbox is also a live chat handoff. So this function can be called by the user, and basically what that trigger will do is, okay, give me to a human now, and then you can set up some notifications to your inbox to say, hey, go talk to this person in the inbox. But we'll kind of expand on that with either later videos or later in this video. So let's go back to integrations. Okay, we have this central OpenAI brain that has been set in this business prompt, right? I just have very general information. The next thing that I want to cover is AutoGPT, okay? Because there are two options here in Chatbot Builder for how you control responses. And one of them is AutoGPT. So if I toggle this on and click save, now if you read here, it says automatically use AI to respond to user messages before triggering the default reply. Basically what this means is that every time the user asks a question, AutoGPT is just going to handle it based on the instructions in this business prompt. So it's basically central brain, you're the driver, I don't need anything special, just handle this response however you will. So, okay, we've clicked these two things. Now what do? We're going to go to channels, we're going to go to web chatbot here. So if I click this and click manage, I have the ability to add a web chatbot based off of this brain that I just gave instructions to on the OpenAI side. Click add, name it, whatever. Hello, YouTube. Okay, so now all of this stuff kind of pops up. Welcome message. All right, well, Connor, we haven't seen it. What's a welcome message, right? If I click down on this, I've got a bunch of stuff here. These are loaded flows that Chatbot Builder has provided to you that are helpful in various ways. But if we scroll down, look, oh, there's a welcome message here. Let's just click on welcome message and see what happens. Now, here's something interesting. Authorized website. So you actually, when you get the script tag, which is the very, very common deliverable from all of these chatbot building platforms, whether you're using VoiceFlow or BotPress or Stack or whatever you're using, you're going to get a script tag that you can then put on a website. One of the unique things that Chatbot Builder requires you to do is actually say, hey, this website's allowed to have this script tag, which is kind of a security bump, right? Because you could theoretically, if somebody wanted to, they could go copy your script tag off the front end of your website using the browser tools and then go install it somewhere else. So this actually prevents somebody from doing that if you don't authorize it to. So I'll just put my website here and click save. That way when I throw this up, it will actually work. Click back in here. Conversation starters and persistent menus, I'm going to kind of skip over, but these are also functionalities that you might want to do, which is you're kind of used to the suggested questions when you hit the welcome message, which is like, welcome to VB Patios. Here's some things that you might want to do, and you can just kind of click and go. So you can set this up, and the persistent menu is something that will always sit at the bottom with, various options or buttons or however you set this up. If I click more options down here, see, I keep having more stuff here. There's a few templates, and this is a styling template that you can use here. Brand color, we're all used to seeing. It's got this green here. Hide the web chat header, show logo as persona, hide the message composer. We'll skip over that. Here is customize web chat with CSS. Okay, let's not do anything yet. Let's just save this and see what happens. You can do it, buddy. Make me refresh here. Check my internet. Okay, here we go. So I've got a web chat. I've named it Hello YouTube. I've got these 3 dots right here. If I hover over this, I've got a few options. Delete, duplicate, get link, and get code. All right, so to test this out, let's just get this link and then paste it into the browser. Now I have a full window to test out this chatbot. It says, hello and welcome to YouTube demonstration. How can I assist you today? So you can see that YouTube demonstration matches the name of the account here. And I'll show you why this is happening when we go and look at the welcome message flow in a second. But I could type in here, say, okay, what are you an assistant for? I'm an assistant for VB Patios, here to provide you with information. Okay, what is their contact information? There we go. Okay, so I'm hitting the knowledge base now. Okay, and I can just query this, and I have this web chat, right? And instead of getting link, I can also get code. Web chat code was copied. And then I can go into one of my pages. This is just a test page that I have up. I paste in my HTML script tag. I click save. This is my chatbot playground page here. If I hit refresh, ignore this tailwind message here. Oh, look, now I have a bubble here, which is the very common chatbot widget that we're all used to seeing. If I click this, you can look and see it's exactly the conversation that we have had previously, because it is saving my user, because I'm on the same, ID or unique ID that it has created. And now the welcome message is actually showing up again because I've hit it a second time here. Hello, what services do you provide? There we go. And it's, once again, I'm queuing the knowledge base, patios, driveways, outdoor lights, kitchens. Okay. If you have any specific questions about these services, feel free to ask. So as you can see in Chatbot Builder, in a very quick time, I already have something that's kind of out on the street, right? Now, obviously this isn't the most functional chatbot in the world, but you kind of get the gist. And I haven't even opened up a designer yet, right? Now, this is kind of like a ChatGPT-like experience for that information. Click a few buttons, get some code, boom, insert it on the website. Now, this is obviously not the only functionality that Chatbot Builder has. Like we use this as a base. We can kind of build upon it. All right. So now let's go through the flows. All right. What's the welcome message? Why did it say welcome YouTube demonstration? If I click flows, I've got a few folders up here and some special flows. Let's go to welcome message. Chatbot Builder has 2 welcome messages that they have pre-built for you. One of them is audio, because Chatbot Builder has voice functionality baked into the platform. If we click on welcome message here. Okay, well, this is starting to look like a designer. This is starting to look like a builder, right? And flows in Chatbot Builder is similar to the functionality that us as Chatbot builders are used to. So let's kind of dig into what's happening right here. I have a generate welcome message, and then I have a send the welcome message. And you can see I have an OpenAI here. If I click this message block. It's got a message type, which is omni-channel. Remember that Chatbot Builder can be connected to a lot of different things. And so when you have the message type set to omni-channel, that means that this is going to work for WhatsApp, for SMS, for Facebook Messenger. But what's unique about this is if I wanted to, I could handle it differently based on the channel that I am in, which is nice because not all of the applications are going to render buttons the same way or certain URLs. So you want to be able to have this customization to really dial in your responses depending on the type of channel that you are in. But if we click OpenAI, this is what happens. We have a generate text. We've got a lot of different things that we can do here. One of the things that this is set on is generate text advanced. The model, as we already went over, is 3.5 Turbo 16K, which says you are a helpful assistant for, all right, now look at this double bracket here, account name. So just like variables, if you're coming from other builders, okay, ChatbotBuilder.ai uses custom fields. Okay, that is their name for variables. And this variable name is account name. So that is why the welcome message said, welcome to YouTube demonstration, which is welcome to account name. Now, it probably would have made sense for me to rename this VB Patios, and it would just say, hello and welcome to VB Patios. How can I assist you today? If we come back to this, your goal is to say welcome on behalf of account name in a friendly tone and ask how you can help. Now, user message, last input, and that is just feeding the previous response into whatever this is going to generate. Now, this as a welcome message is a little bit less useful, but this is really powerful and important when we start building out some more advanced flows to be able to provide context to the LLM on what we are doing. Now, if we scroll down a little further, save response to a custom field. Now, this is also a unique ChatbotBuilder.ai functionality, all right? We do not have the capabilities to just have an AI block that auto sends a response. For those of you that are in VoiceFlow that are used to set AI, which is have this LLM respond and save it into a variable, that is how all of the functionality in Chatbot Builder works. So every LLM response gets saved into a particular custom field. And this one is called AI Welcome Message, which is just a custom field that has been built by Chatbot Builder and provided to you out of the gate here. We have functions that we can select. Remember conversation? No, because we don't really need to, right? This is the welcome message. We don't really care what was said previously. This should be the first thing that the user sees. Continue. All right. So now if we come to the second block, it's another text message block, so excuse me, send message block, but this is actually a text, right? And in this text response is just the custom field. And if you hit one bracket, you'll have a list of all of the custom fields that are available to you to put in here. And there's a lot of stuff that is in here because the account template for Chatbot Builder has a lot of different levers and widgets kind of fully baked in. So it can get a little bit confusing and a little bit intimidating the first time you jump into it. But once you start to understand what's kind of going on, you kind of get the idea. So what's happening here in this welcome message is we have an LLM generating a response, and then we're sending that message out. So even though we only saw this, hello and welcome to YouTube demonstration, really this was two steps. It was generate, and then what is the value of this custom field? Because that's all this text block is, right? Now, if we click on either of these message blocks and hit add content, okay, now this is the kind of functionality that I'm used to seeing in a designer, right? I've got text, I've got images, I've got cards and carousel. If we look at this, we got files we can upload, actions. So this is where you get the OpenAI block, right? And what's kind of cool about some of this functionality is I can have double OpenAI generates, and you can start chaining prompts. I'll do this sometimes for formatting, especially if I'm running into a lot of markdown that's not rendering. So a lot of asterisks are coming or the URLs aren't populating the way that I should. I'll throw a second OpenAI block, and then I'll say, I'll put AI welcome message here as the user message previously and say, hey, go look at this and format this the way that I want it and output it. And then I'll, change whatever the custom field here. So you can kind of start to set up some really cool dynamic functionality inside of these flows. And you can also, instead of just a message, you can start new flows, set conditions, which is kind of like an if statement, if this variable is like this. So this is the main builder functionality inside of flows. But keep in mind, the way that Chatbot Builder functions, you're not building your entire chatbot inside of flows. Really, they're short execution, like linear execution flows, and then you get back into the central brain. Like you'll notice there's nothing connected at the end of send welcome message. So like what happens here? I need to route this back to my knowledge base. I need to move this somewhere. And the answer is you don't, right? Because once this executes here, this, instead of having no response and just hitting the end of your chatbot, this just goes back to the account brain, right? This just goes back to, okay, what are you an assistant for? I'm an assistant for VB Patios. And that's how you get the dynamic functionality inside of Chatbot Builder. I don't have to handle every single connect this to here. And if we're stuck in this linear, if it breaks because the person on the other end says the wrong thing, this is how we can use Chatbot Builder to create a much more dynamic response set inside of these chatbots, which makes them more powerful and more user-friendly and more responsive. So I'll show you. Why do I need to have OpenAI generate a welcome message every time? And the answer is you don't. So watch what happens if I actually just delete this. And I can't delete this block right now because it's the first block in the flow. But what I can do is I can have set this as the starting step, which was that play button, and then I can delete this. And now I just have send the welcome message here. Well, this custom field is not populated with anything. So if I were to hit publish right here and try to talk to the chatbot again, nothing would happen because this custom field is empty because I don't have an LLM to generate a response and put the value in. So, but I can just hard text and say, hello, welcome to VB Patios, my good friend. Hit publish. Now watch what happens when I refresh the welcome message. Hello, welcome to VB Patios, my good friends, right? So I have a hard text block for the welcome message. So you don't have to have the LLM generate all of this stuff if you don't want to. Now, if you want a little bit, of a dynamic aspect where it changes the welcome message every time, then that's fine. But think about this. I can now take that welcome message. I can just add a button here. And I can put, some suggested flows here, which instead of this button label is contact us, right? And then I click, instead of any of these, open website. And then I'll go to VB Patios, contact us page, copy that URL, hit save, publish. Now watch happens when I refresh this. There we go. Welcome to VB Patios. Well, now it's sending me a bunch because I just refreshed too many times. And anyways, we can clean up the look of this, of course. But now you kind of understand I'm queuing this welcome message. And if I click contact us, there's the VB Patios contact us page, right? So this is how you start to build out custom flows and functionality inside of Chatbot Builder. Now, we're going to go back into the integrations. I'm going to show you the second way to handle the brain, which is the knowledge base. So this is all on auto GPT, right? Which is you, brain, you do this every single time. You control, you're the driver, you're the captain here. Now you'll notice in the general tab, a default reply, which is set to none. It is the default response that your chatbot will send to users when the chatbot doesn't know how to respond to the user message. So if I turn off AutoGPT, and say, brain, I appreciate your efforts, but I actually want a very, very specific thing to happen every single time a message is sent to a user. I can scroll down. These are all of the flows available, but if you'll notice, I have a default reply, simple, that Chatbot Builder has provided. So let's save this, and then let's open up flows. And in the folder default replies, let's check this out. Okay, I've got audio, simple, and advanced. Well, this is a 101 building. Let's keep it simple. I'm not a smart man, as Forrest Gump would say. Okay, this looks exactly like what we saw in the welcome message, right? We have an OpenAI generating a text, and it's saving it to AI default reply as a custom field. And then I have a message that's just the custom field. So let's look at how this prompt looks like. Oh, look, we've got profile, purpose, people, persistency, perfection, the P's, which is Chatbot Builder attempting to help you write your prompts, right? So when you switch over to default reply and turn off AutoGPT, guess what stops working? Remember when I had OpenAI edit here and I have this general brain set? Well, guess what? Default reply is its own beast, right? It follows its own path. It doesn't listen to the central brain at all. So it has no knowledge of these instructions. So what I have to do is I have to copy this knowledge base and I have to overwrite here in the default reply, and then click Save and Publish. Now, if I test this out again, it's just going to do the same exact thing that we did before, right? So if I go here, welcome to VB Patios. Hi, what is your contact information? It's going to do the same thing, right? So you might wonder, Connor, why would you turn off the central brain and turn on default reply? Well, remember, in the flow builder, we can do a lot of various things. So what if, for whatever reason, in addition to answering the user's question, I wanted that same contact button to show up at the bottom of every single message? So we can go back to the Contact Us page, default reply, hit Save, hit Publish. So if I refresh again, I'm going to get the welcome message, which is welcome to VB Patios, my good friend Contact Us. But if I ask the same question, hi, what is your contact information? Whoa. There we go. I have your contact information and button number 1, which I didn't. My goodness. Where did I go? Oops. I'm doing some extra keyboard strokes and clicking out of things all over the place. Let's go back to settings. Just lost it all. Web chatbot, manage, get link. Let's try that again. Apologize. What is your contact information? There we go. So I have this button is now at the bottom of every single response. What services do you offer? I didn't name the button like I did before, which I thought I did, but maybe I was going a little bit too fast. If I click this button, it's the Contact Us page again. If I come back to flows and default replies, simple man. There we go. Button 1, I didn't name it. But anyways, this is why you would turn off AutoGPT, right? Is because you need the default reply to act in a specific way or do additional actions that it wouldn't normally take if AutoGPT was turned on. AutoGPT is just like the, hey, just answer these general questions. But default reply is, I need something to happen every single time you respond to the users in order to have a little bit more control. It just depends on what you're trying to build. I'd say about 80% of the time, you'd probably be okay just using AutoGPT. And then there are going to be some certain cases where it might make sense to have default reply. But just remember, when you swap over to default reply, make sure that you're giving it the same prompt that you were in the central brain, because this is what it's going to listen to here. Okay, so now we kind of understand a little bit about AutoGPT, default reply. Where's the next level up? All right, we're hitting, kind of the 35-minute mark already on this video. I'm going to show you a function, a unique function called tied into an integration that might be useful for chatbots. And then you can kind of start jumping in here and building out things yourself just to get an idea of what's going on. So let's go back to the settings. Actually, I have settings open here. Okay, functions. Let's say instead of that button that says contact us, but I'll leave it up, what if I just say in the chat, I'd like to contact, VB Patios, or I want to, get started with a project, right? That's a call to action for the business. So if we can go to functions here, we have this connect user to human. If I add a function here, I'm going to name this start project. What does this trigger do? Allows the user to book an appointment with VB Patios. Now here's something that is relatively unique to ChatbotBuilder.ai. I can collect the data in the function call, and the chat just handles it without having to set a flow, without having to say, what is your name? Save to variable. What is your email address? Save to variable. I can just have the function call handle it here in the chat, and it will work. So if I say full name, custom field, full name is one of them, email, and let's just do phone number for fun. Phone, right? So we've got the function that's going to collect these 3 custom fields that are already set here. Now you can add, new custom fields from the flow page and put them in here as well. You do not have to use the preset ones. What flow is trigger? We're going to keep none for now. I'm going to show you this functionality here in a minute. What is the output message, which is optional? You could leave this blank, but let's just say for testing to see if this works. Great. A member of VB Patios will be reaching out to you shortly. What's up, YouTube? See if that works. Hit continue. All right, now, where am I going to put this function call? How is the account going to know to trigger this? Now, that depends on what you have as the rule set with your OpenAI. Are you on AutoGPT? Or are you on the default reply? I'm going to turn on AutoGPT back again. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to say, okay, we've got this set still. For functions, start project. The other thing we're going to do is inside of the prompt, we're going to let it know that it has this function call. Important. Have a function named start project. Should be called whenever a user wants to start a project with VB Patios. It collects the following information: full name, email, and phone. You must collect all of this information in order for the user to start a project. Continue. Now, if I did not have AutoGPT selected, you would do the same exact thing inside of the default reply LLM OpenAI block, right? You would add this function here and you would add it into the prompt. So if I hit continue now, and then I come back to my YouTube demonstration and refresh, welcome to VB Patios, move this over here. Hey, what is your contact information? Just to test the response, make sure everything's still working okay. Yep. All right. I'd like to start a project. Let's see what happens. That's great to start a project with Virginia Beach Patios. I'll need some information from you. Please provide me with your full name, email, and phone number. So boom, you see that these are the 3 custom fields that we have requested in the function. So this is proving that I just hit this function correctly. Good job, AutoGPT. So I can respond Connor at Umbral.ai. Now watch what happens if I don't include the phone number. Thank you for providing your name and email. To proceed with starting a project, I also need your phone number. Can you please provide me with your phone number? This is perfect, right? Because AutoGPT is handling this out of the box already. I don't have to try to connect and handle the what if scenario if somebody provides partial information. 555. Now the output message should trigger here. Great, your project request has been submitted to Virginia Beach Patios. A member of their team will be reaching out to you shortly. Further details. If you have any more questions or need assistance, feel free to ask. So it didn't give the YouTube shout out love, but it's okay. It still crafted that message around what I said, which was smart. So this is great, right? This is functionality that we are now tying into the base brain of our Chatbot Builder account. Now watch what happens. I go back to settings. I go into the inbox. Refresh. Here we go. I have this conversation saved, and I can see it's got Connor, it's got my email, it's got my phone number here. So this has been added as a contact here. And if you click View Executed Actions here, why isn't that popping up? Oh, probably because it's built-in custom fields. Anyways, if you create your own custom fields and click View Executed Actions, it will let you know the steps that value changes. But because email, phone, and full name are baked into the account, this on the back end doesn't show up. But that's okay. Anyways, this is the inbox. And this is where if somebody was messaging your web chat, you could sit here and take over and you say, hey, this is Connor in real life. And boom, there we go. And now it's over to the human side of it, which that other function, which is connect to human agent, gives you, hey, you need to now come into this window and start talking to somebody on the real end. Now this has potentially less appeal as a web chatbot, probably more appeal as a Facebook Messenger, as a WhatsApp, as a text response, because remember, this account can be connected to various other platforms and applications by clicking a few buttons and hit connect. So if you want to give this back to the bot, click this robot, then we're back in business. And if I come back to the web chat, you can see, hey, this is Connor in real life. I typed that in from the inbox, okay? And if you were on the other end receiving this, that is what you would say. It shows up just like it would as if it is in a chatbot. And because I move this back over to the bot now, this should respond back appropriately. What services do you offer? There we go. So that is some of the functionality that Chatbot Builder kind of provides. Now let's integrate this with something. Okay, I have this function call. What's another thing that we can do with this? So if I come to integrations, you'll notice that Google Sheets is also able to be connected into your account. So let's take those custom fields that I just grabbed, the name, the email, and the phone, and let's throw it into a Google Sheet, right? Because if you're a chatbot builder and you're building out this functionality, one of the cool things that you might do with a client is, here's a shared Google Sheet that you can access where I'm just going to fire over these variables and custom fields that I save, and you can view them at any time. So if I click connect, it's going to ask me to sign into Chatbot Builder connected to my account. Yes, I already have this connected in some way, shape, or form. It's going to ask me, now you can see my emails connected to Google Sheets, manage. I have no data. I don't have any spreadsheets linked to this. I'll click add. Wants a name. I'll just call it leads. Spreadsheet link. All right, where do I get this? So if I open up a new Google Sheet here, just type this leads from Chatbot and click share. Can copy this link, then come back over and paste this in here. Click continue. You'll now see that leads is linked into my account here. So what can I do now? Well, let's go and start a flow. Let's start a new flow, and let's just call this add lead to Google Sheet. I have a brand new flow, which the builder opens up here. You can click send message, add content, actions, Google Sheets. Okay, now I click into Google Sheets, actions. I've got a few things. Send data, get row, get random row, update row. So you can create a dynamic gallery off of all these informations in various Google Sheet pages that you have set up. So for this one, I want to send data from the chatbot into a Google Sheet, right? So actually, that reminds me, let me go back. Let me name these real quick, which is full name, email, phone number. I will adjust this to make it look a little bit pretty here for all of you. And then let's come back in here. Might have to refresh this actually, just because. Google Sheets, send data, spreadsheet, leads, worksheet, sheet 1. I only have sheet 1 available because that's the only thing that's in this worksheet, right? But if you were to name these sheets and add multiple sheets, you'd be able to access them from that window. Okay, look, Google column titles. So it is pulling full name, email, and phone from these column headers here. So what we're going to do is we are going to take full name, email, phone, which are the custom fields in the chatbot that get populated by the function call, and they are going to get populated into these Google Sheet columns appropriately. I click save, and I just hit publish, right? I don't need to connect this to anything else. I don't need to do any other action for this, right? I just want that data sent to this Google Sheet and then the chatbot to continue to work the way that it did before. So I hit publish. Now what do I need to do? I need to go back into settings, into my function, integration, functions, come back to start project. I go to edit, and instead of what flow is triggered, I need to trigger add lead to Google Sheet. So the chat is going to handle collecting this information. And then once it does, it should trigger the flow add lead to Google Sheet, which just populates that Google Sheet and then gets out of the way. So let's test this. Welcome to the VB Patios, my good friend. Hi, how are you doing today? Hello, I'm here ready to assist you. I'd like to start a project. That's great. I'll need some information. Full name, email, and phone number. Connor B. AI 123. Oops. Whoa. Keyboard went nutso there. Great. A member will be reaching out to you shortly to discuss your project. If you have any more questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask. All right. Drum roll. Did that send this information into my Google Sheet or not, right? Because I don't know on the back end, right? Because that flow that got called, all it did was send something to Google Sheets. Let's check. Boom. Boom goes the dynamite. Counter B, counter.AI, and the phone number. That's it. And that is the power of Chatbot Builder, right? It's because I can call these functions and start these flows to go handle this, and I can keep rolling with the brains of this chatbot. What services do you provide again? There we go. And now, because we've set the rules of this account, we've set the rules of this brain, this is how this is going to work. Now you can go into all of the channels that you want. I just showcased one particular channel, which is a web chatbot that can be installed with a script tag on your website. You can now connect it to Messenger, to WhatsApp, to Instagram, to SMS, through Twilio, all using the same brain and the same rule set we just went through with web chat. It will act in the same exact way and go and connect to the platforms that you wanted out of the box. Anyways, this is Chatbot Builder. This is why I enjoy spending some time in this particular platform, because it allows me to do a lot of the things that I want to do. So yeah, I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.